Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Smashi Business Show. It is Thursday today, the 23rd of January. How are you, Majid?
I'm good.
You're good?
Yeah. The end of the week and we're going towards the weekend. So yeah, I'm most probably going somewhere, enjoying. My wife plans it, so I don't know where, but it's a surprise.
You're not much of a planner?
Yeah, I don't.
Oh, we need to tell them. By the way, guys, it was
Thankfully.
his birthday yesterday.
Yeah, it was. I didn't tell anyone, but my wife told everyone, and word found out. And then,
I found out on Instagram, and it's so hilarious
Birthdays
because
are overrated.
I'm.
Yeah, they're overrated.
What do you mean they're
I
overrated?
think all of these events, they were created by corporations to sell cards and balloons and like confetti and cakes, and yeah, you live every day. Every day should be your birthday.
No, to be honest with you, I just love birthdays so much because I love cake. No,
Oh, yeah.
really, I love cake, and I just
Get it every day.
I love the gifts that I get. Like, I appreciate it, man. It's nice. It's nice being celebrated. I love it. I think it's cute.
If you say it like that, yes, maybe. Yeah, because we all get a cake. We celebrate all the birthdays. Right? So we get cake. That's the happiness.
I don't think we surprised you that well yesterday.
I guess everyone who has a birthday, they know in our office that it'll be celebrated. But when, that's the surprise. Like, you all guys come randomly out of nowhere. Happy birthday. And we're like,
But
okay.
did you enjoy your day last
Yeah,
night?
it was a good day. I didn't do anything. So that's a very good day. All my plans are for the weekend now. Everything will happen on the weekend because obviously office is more important. Job is also important.
Of course.
Weekend is good.
And just getting to our topics for today, this one is an extremely big one. So the UAE Minister of Economy, Abdullah Al-Marri, actually went on to say in the Davos conference that the UAE is not going to implement income tax anytime soon. Now, him saying, the statement in itself, them not implementing it anytime soon, it does hint at the fact that it is coming. It is coming at some point. No, that's the way that I see it. I think that it's coming at some point, but not now.
It was just lost in translation, to be honest. The main idea was they were talking about the economy, that, oh, this happened, this happened, this happened. He said a lot of big numbers, obviously, that he had 500 to 600,000 companies like 3 years ago, and then they set a target of 1 million companies, and he's achieved it like 3-4 years before even those targets were supposed to be achieved. So he's like, I'm revising my targets. Now I want 2 million companies in the UAE. So he was going on about the economy, that how it's flourishing, how UAE is attracting the most number of millionaires, all the stuff that we covered throughout the last year. He said all of that. But then the question was like, would you ever want like UAE to implement income tax to get more money into UAE? So to like obviously fill the coffers, like take your percentage of like growth, GDP growth from like 2, 3, 5, 4, whatever percentage to a higher percentage, because income tax adds a lot of money to your coffers, to a government's coffers. So that was the main question, and he said that it's not in the rooms where these discussion happens.
Yeah.
It's not even on the table, and it's not going to happen anytime soon. And I genuinely believe it's impossible that it will ever happen. Like the worstest case scenario, it can happen, but there is like 99% possibility of it never coming, because that's the main marketing point of this country.
Exactly, that's
so
why
if
people
they
come
remove
here.
that, yeah, obviously it's like you love a cake, a milk cake, and they remove milk from it.
Yeah.
They make it into something else. You'll never eat it.
No,
So
I
the
agree with
UAE's
you.
attraction is this, that they don't have income tax. A lot of Middle Eastern countries, they don't have income tax.
And it's like when you speak to foreigners themselves,
Yeah.
like, I spoke to a lot of my professors and teachers, Majid, and they said that the reason why they honestly come here is that they don't have to pay tax.
Yeah.
That is like their prime reason. They don't have to pay tax.
Yeah.
And like, especially in, a country like the UK, where they tax their citizens so much. And in fact, that if you make more money, you're only going to get taxed more.
No, but when you become a billionaire and you don't. That's the trick.
No,
I see so many videos where they tell you that when you become a billionaire, you don't hold assets. You just put your money somewhere where you just try to get into a debt. So you'll buy a company. If you have like 100 billion, I'll give you a very simple example. You just put it into a project which is worth 1 trillion. And now your 100 billion is stuck there. So now you're basically in debt, 900 billion debt. So you don't have to pay anything on it. So it's like billionaires can ditch that, millionaires to an extent also. But coming back to the main point, UAE, they have implemented 15% tax. We've talked
They
about
have
that.
for multinational
Yeah,
companies.
so that 15% tax is because IMF and then GCC have this ongoing negotiations, and then they came up with a plan that the multinationals, because they usually what they do is when there's no tax in countries, they go there and they set up their businesses there. So it becomes unequal for other countries, and it becomes less competitive because you're not taking any tax. So they implemented a 15% tax, but for the companies which make 750 million euros per year. So that's a very big amount. So if you do that, then you'll get taxed now in Oman, Bahrain, Qatar, Saudi, UAE, all the GCC countries. So now everyone is slowly and gradually implementing that.
And not just that, in the UAE, not only do we have corporate tax now, it was actually enacted as of January 1, 2025, this year, but we also have consumption tax. And it's like, it's something you don't notice, you know, it's anything that you buy in like a grocery store, whether you're shopping, if you take a look at the receipt, you know, that consumption tax, it's there. And that's why, like, I really do have this prime belief, Majid, that there is a possibility that at some point they will have income tax, because it's something I feel that they slowly incorporate, and I think that's the best way that you can possibly do it without because of the fact you're slowly doing it. People's salaries are slowly getting used to it. They're slowly getting adjusted to it. I think at some point they will. You know, it's
have
really.
Have you ever like seen a deduction in your salary, like if, for example, you earn $1 million. I'm saying a very big number, so we don't have to talk about the actual number. For example, if you get $1 million per month, did you ever see 997? No. And in the column, you'll never say income tax. I don't know if you've seen pay slips in Sudan or any other countries. In Pakistan, it clearly says that this much income tax has been cut. So in UAE, it never happens because it's not happening. The main idea is, again, income tax is used as a tool by a lot of countries who don't have a good trade circle going on, who don't have a good economy. Their budget is not going into surplus. UAE, last year, their budget, they earned more than they spent. So they have money already in the kitty to use. So they don't need income tax right now.
I don't just think that's what it is, Majid. I also think, like, for example, I always...
Income tax is a tool used for that.
It's not just that. Like, in the UK, for example, their tax, that's what pays for people's education.
Yeah,
you know,
that is what I'm telling you.
That's what pays for their, you know, their insurance, all of that.
For example, UK earns 50 every year. And the whole expenditure, including health, education, everything, is 120. What they'll do is, they'll start taking income tax from people, and they'll cover that 70 that is left from people, from their incomes, and then provide them with education. So it's not that out of their goodwill they're giving all of that. It's you take the tax money and then you build the infrastructure, the hospital infrastructure, healthcare, education, whatever, parks, recreation. You build all of that by taking some part of a person's money every month. So it's not that. So they don't have 120. If any country has 120 and their expenditure is 120, obviously they'll just use that. So any country, very basic economics, any country earns through big three methods. One is income tax. So the second is the money that overseas people who are in there, out of the country, they send to their country. It has a very good word name for it. And the third thing is exports. So UAE, great exports, great trade, trillions of dollars of trade happening. They have a lot of money. A lot of people actually, the UAE people, they're not working outside, but they don't need that because one part of it is being covered by trade, oil trade, and then non-oil economy, which is also growing. And then they don't tax you on income because one of the three pillars is so strong that it supports the other two. That is why I feel, since they already have oil and they're selling oil and then they're building a non-oil economy as well, they will never have to rely on the other two. And the good thing is UAE dirham is always pegged to the dollar. The Saudi riyal is pegged to the dollar. So even because of that, there's no inflation happening because usually, you see, we talked about Syria, 14,000 pounds, Syrian pounds for $1, 25,000 pounds for $1. Because of that, a lot of countries, they become like, they go into debt. But
you know,
these
Majid,
countries are pegged with the dollar.
but
They'll
you know
always
what's
stay the
so,
same.
what's so interesting is that actually in 2018, Saudi Arabia and the UAE were the first countries in the Gulf to actually implement like consumer tax.
Yeah,
it's
consumer tax.
It's really interesting to me that they were the first to do it. And I remember even at that time, it was so surprising to me because I remember cinema
what year?
tickets. 2018. You know, I remember at that time, Majid, like cinema tickets before it was actually implemented, they were just 37 dirhams. I remember it. And then out of nowhere, a normal standard ticket became 40.
Yeah.
And then that's like when we all started noticing it. But I think they implemented it in such a way that, you know, I think it was so successful because you're not taking too much out of people.
Yeah.
And what's even better than that is, you know, we discussed this before, you know, when people are visiting the UAE, you know, if you're coming from another country, you're coming and it's a holiday, you can get your tax back. That consumption tax that is going into
VAT.
you can get it
Value-added
back.
tax,
You can get it back planet free when you're at the airport, and that's something so beautiful that they implemented. And
No,
other
VAT
countries did not. The UK did not, by the way. They did not. They did not. Like, you don't get whatever consumption tax that you're spending there. You're not capable of actually getting it back.
See, in UAE you have taxes. You and me know we have 5% VAT, which is fixed value-added tax. I would pay it. Everyone pays it who lives here, because we know that whatever we get is being value-added. The name itself says it. You pay it on your grocery. You pay it on all the products that you buy, and the main idea here is that they're talking about income tax, but yeah, if you talk about other taxes, we do have taxes. It's not, it's in the form of service fee, in the form of digitalization fee. For example, if you go for your visa process, you have different visas. You only went for medical, right? When you got your visa. So I've been through the whole visa process myself. So I saw that there is a digital literacy fee. It's called digital literacy. So if they move a system from manual to digital, they'll charge you a 5 dirham, 10 dirham fee for it, because now they have to support the digital system. The good thing is, a tax is meant to be given back to you in some form. But you get, in UAE, you get all of it. If you are giving digital something, that tax, when you're going for a medical or anything, you are actually getting your process made quicker because of digitalization. You just go scan your passport or maybe whatever the document is, and everything that could have been like writing a form and filling it or typing it out, it becomes so easy. So whatever tax they take, they actually use it somewhere. That is the problem with taxing in underdeveloped or corrupt countries. They take the tax, but the tax is supposed to build parks, hospitals, education.
They don't use
don't
it for
build
that.
it. So the good thing is, even if in these countries you're being taxed, at the end of the day you realize that, yeah, I'm getting some value out of my tax. And then there's the thing that you were talking about, it's on e-commerce
But
now.
you know,
so VAT is already there.
yeah.
If you're coming as a tourist, you can get your money back very easily. You'll go to the tax-free planet. It's on airports, it's on a lot of places.
It's so
but mainly
useful, and it's really easy. I used to do
but
the
now,
forms
even
for
if you
people.
shop for more than $200 when you're in UAE, for example, you come here for 1 week and you spend on groceries and all that, but you buy it from Noon and all these places, you can get money back on those as well.
No, but I just remembered something
e-commerce
actually.
sites.
So for foreigners, you know, if you're somebody who's just here on holiday, if you want to get your consumption tax back, you can only actually get it back if your receipt is over 250 dirhams. I just remembered that. But you know what? This like gets me on the topic of Majid. You know that according to the Dubai Department of Economy and Tourism, in 2024 there was actually over 16 million visitors and tourists in the UAE.
And they paid a lot of tax.
It's no. It's crazy. Over 16 million people visited the country. And I remember, like, you know, last year when I was still working at the mall, you know that on like normal weekdays, it would be like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Majid, the amount of people that I would see in the mall, like I would see like you know what I would see? It would be really entertaining to see. You'd see like a group of German people with their German tour guide screaming.
They have a flag and everything.
And then you have like a group of Chinese people with their, what's it called, with their with their Chinese tour guide, and they're all over the mall.
Yeah.
And let me tell you, it was not just January, it was not just February,
Yeah.
it was not like, it was every single part of the year, Q1, Q2, and Q3, and Q4. The entire year was just the buzz in the mall, like, I even started hating the mall. Because of the amount of people that were there. And even like it actually changed me as a person. I had to start doing something where I know how to communicate with people in sign language. I'd pull the iPad out and I would start translating. I'd be like, which country are you from? And then like I'd put it and then we try to communicate through that way so that I could help them out. But it's insane to see like, the topic of tax and, remembering the planet-free forms. So many people visited the country, and honestly, I'm so interested to see how many more are going to. And right now, if you notice, the roads are so crowded because everybody came back for school. It's just, it's crazy. It's crazy.
See, it's the peak season. It's not just here. You go to any country in the world which is a tourist destination.
Yeah.
This happens. Like you go to Turkey, Istanbul, it's the cloud street in their peak period after like around June till December. You won't find like any silent time. Even at 3 a.m. in the night, there'll be people on the streets. So it's like that. The good thing that good countries like UAE and also Turkey, to be honest, I love Turkey for this. They have such a nice system in place for all the crowd. You can bring in like double or triple the crowd. They'll always have a system to manage it because they know that tourism is one big part of the economy. So they always have like proactive approaches, systems in place. So that's the good part.
No, just recently I read something also about Saudi Arabia, about Riyadh's airport and how for the entire year, I believe, they didn't experience any delays in flights whatsoever. So I think this...
Dubai Metro last year, 99.1% punctuality timing. And then Sheikh Mohammed, he comes, the Dubai ruler, His Highness says that I want it to be 100%. So imagine the kind of like thinking that they have. They don't want. They're not satisfied with 99.1.
They go for perfection.
Yeah,
they go for
that's
perfection.
the best thing because they, to be honest, in their mind they also know perfection is impossible, but they strive for it still.
Yeah.
That's what the like foundations of these countries in the Middle East region, Saudi and UAE is. Always strive for perfection. Be the best. Try to be the best. Like the story that happened in the morning, trust me, we didn't want to talk about it. We wanted to talk about it tomorrow, but let's talk about that. Perfection. Mr. Trump, on Monday, a reporter asked her, the very first foreign visit when he became president for the first time was to Saudi Arabia. And his reply, as usual, Trump being Trump, oh, they promised me $450 billion in investment, so I went. So this time, and then he said, like, if this time they also promise me $450 to $500 billion and they buy our American product, I'll go. I'll make it my first foreign visit. And then on Wednesday, like the Saudi press agency, which is the state-run agency, they said that His Royal Highness Mohammed bin Salman, he's called Trump as a congratulatory call. Everyone calls you when you become a president. And he called him and he's like, okay, we'll give you 600. 600 billion in investment over 4 years. So this is what we're talking about in these countries, that now they have the monetary power to talk to anyone like face to face.
And it's even more interesting because actually, during Trump's first foreign visit after he became president in 2016, you know that when he had gone over, they had signed a 110 $110 billion deal for the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia to purchase ammunition and arms from the US.
Was the total investment. 110 was only for defense. Only the defense contract was 110 billion. Imagine. So they bought a lot of airplanes, all the radar, whatever technology US produces. Apparently they're the best in the world for defense. So 110 billion was only for defense. The total was 450 according to Mr. Trump himself, the president. So yeah, they've promised 600. Let's see what happens. Where Trump's first visit as the president of the United States will be. Let's see.
And finally, for our next topic today, so, we've been speaking a lot about the World Economic Forum that is taking place in Davos in Switzerland. However, there is more to it. So Brand Finance actually unveiled its Global 500 2025 report to basically showcase the world's most valuable and fast-growing brands. Now, the company that actually retained the #1 position for the most valuable brand, it's Apple. And they're actually valued at $574.5 billion, followed by Microsoft, who's at $461.1 billion, and Google, which is at $413 billion. Now, this is interesting to see that Apple retained the #1 position because I was watching this video of Mohammed Al-Abbar, the founder and CEO of Ammar Properties, and you know what he said? He said that per year, I only have 15 clients. I only take in 15 clients. However, you have to go and see, other companies like they take more. Yeah. They take absolutely more clients. And I think, with companies like Apple, this is the success that we're seeing with them because it's booming, to be honest with you. Every single year, a new Apple phone comes out and the hype never dies. And Majid, it's like, I've seen it from the first phone, from like iPhone, I believe, was it iPhone 5? I don't remember.
But, I've seen 3 and 2 as well.
No way.
I'm older than you. I've seen the start of Apple.
I have a friend who actually recently bought the iPhone 5 for 150 dirhams. She bought it so she can take like aesthetic photos. And it takes really good photos, Majid. It was for Coldplay. She bought it so she could take really nice photos. But that's beside the point. Apple is doing great. But even more than that, UAE companies are doing absolutely amazing. And the ones that actually, whose names came out on this Brand Finance were Ittisalat and ADNOC. So Ittisalat became the fastest growing brand globally with a brand value exceeding $20 billion, an 8-fold increase year on year. And ADNOC maintained its position as the UAE's most valuable brand at $18.9 billion, marking a 25% increase from 2024. And finally, Emirates Airlines saw a 26.5% rise in its brand value to reach $8 billion. And this is so beautiful to see, especially after the Abbar video that I saw. I just remembered it. He said that I have like 15 clients, but you should go and see how many clients Emirates Airlines has. He mentioned them and he said that they're doing absolutely great. Seeing this, it makes me so happy, Majid, because the UAE, it's standing out. It's standing out in every single sector.
And the interesting thing is, this happened at Davos again. Everything is happening in Davos in the last few days. Today is the second last day, tomorrow is the last day. So we'll keep you updating on whatever comes out of it. We're trying to cover as much as possible. The main thing is, in the UAE pavilion, they have country pavilions there. So in the UAE pavilion, this report was published by Brand Finance, and the report is called Global 500. So Global 500, obviously Apple was on the top, and then in the 500, they had these big 3 companies that Word told you about, and ADNOC and Emirates. And ADNOC, obviously we know they're like Abu Dhabi state company, into oil and gas, and now you remember
and we spoke about how they diversified, and what they're trying to do is they're opening more stores. They're opening more stores for ADNOC so they can have a different revenue stream.
And
so
they're going into service stations. They're literally going into anything to which is remotely related to oil and gas, even the stores, the real estate for stores and everything. So obviously they're big brands, and it's good that they're amongst the top 500. The most important thing, again, what I told you, fastest growing brand in the world was named as Aeon, and we recently saw their campaigns putting 5 global superstars in just one ad. Lewis Hamilton, Jason Statham, Shah Rukh Khan, Bollywood king. There's Megan Fox, and then there was another person, I forgot the name. And there's actually she was an Emirati influencer or some influencer in the UAE. So they put 5 top people in just one ad. It's usually very difficult to hire you in one big brand, like a big person.
Oh, is it the one on Sheikh Zayed Road?
Yeah.
And then you have that actor from Fast and Furious. You have Megan Fox.
Megan Fox,
Shah
Jason
Rukh Khan.
Statham.
Oh my God.
Khan,
Magic, I see that ad all the time. It's right in my face. And whenever I look at it, I'm like, how'd they do that?
No,
How'd
the
they
video
pull
is
it out?
even great. I saw the video. They have all of them don't come together in this scene. It's 5 different locations and 5 different things that they're doing. But again, it shows you that how much E&D is making,
Yeah.
but they're spending as well to keep their marketplace.
But you know what's even more interesting about all of this is that you know that the United Arab Emirates government actually owns 60% of Etisalat.
Yeah,
That's
it's a
and
state-run
40
company,
and 40% of 40% of Etisalat's stakes are actually publicly traded.
Yeah.
But even more than that, you know that
ADNOC even,
Etisalat.
it's owned by Abu Dhabi, so
Yeah.
obviously state-run companies
Of
always do
course,
good
but it's
anywhere
like,
in the country.
Imagine even with Etisalat, they actually have over 155 million subscribers worldwide,
Yeah.
and they're actually stationed across 16 countries in the Middle East, in Africa, in Asia. So, you know, when I see something like this, I'm not just taking a look at it and thinking to myself, you know, Etisalat is doing great. I'm thinking of it in the sense of the United Arab Emirates government is doing
Yeah.
great.
Etisalat-
You know, they're really spreading their sphere of influence.
Yeah. The funny thing is, I saw their infrastructure director, like the
Yeah.
head of infrastructure. Basically, they have a lot of infrastructure that they have to put in place for all the services that you get. So he was talking about how much revenue Etisalat makes overall, but the infrastructure department makes the most revenue. And I was like, okay, never got into the research, or I never went deep into it. But he was like, we make the most money because actually the core of the business is putting everything in place.
4 minutes.
Wow.
And then obviously on the basis of that infrastructure, you get 5G services, wireless services, this and that. I was like, okay, great, great to hear that. So this is the story.
And finally,
yeah.
for our last story of the day, President Donald Trump. You know, we can finally call him president, not president-elect, but President Donald Trump has announced the launch of Stargate, a $500 billion AI infrastructure project in partnership with SoftBank, Oracle, and OpenAI. Now, the UAE's MGX tech fund has joined as a financial investor alongside ARM, Microsoft, NVIDIA, and others as technology partners. Now, the initial investment that they actually put into it was $100 billion, but now they're actually going to scale it up to $500 billion, which is going to be scaled over 4 years.
Yeah. The main idea is Mr. Trump is trying to do whatever he can to tell people that, oh, I'm bringing so much money into the country. And apparently 100,000 jobs, that's like one of the promises that he made during his election campaign, that I'll create jobs. The good thing about Trump that I have seen in the last like 3 days since he's become president, he's promised a lot, and he's brought money actually in the US. This 100 billion by SoftBank, Oracle, OpenAI, and then MGX being a part of it. So MGX is basically a venture by Abu Dhabi-based Mubadala and G42. G42 is again an Abu Dhabi-based AI giant. It's the biggest AI company in the UAE. Mubadala is 330 billion. We talked about it. It's like the third largest sovereign wealth fund in the UAE, in Abu Dhabi, basically. So these two came together to make MGX, and MGX's main idea is to invest. They don't do anything apart from investing money. So it's nearly $100 billion fund itself. So they, Mubadala and G42 put 100 billion together, and they're like, we'll invest in AI. So they've invested in a lot of stuff, XAI, OpenAI. The funny thing about this story is I just saw it. I was on Twitter, and Elon Musk apparently replied to one of the tweets, and he's like, OpenAI doesn't have that kind of money. I was like, okay,
Musk,
why do you have a problem with
he
it?
recently had such a big achievement. Basically, this rocket that they sent out,
Yeah.
it came back down, and it came back down perfectly when I was
It was
watching
the
the video.
second time they caught it.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
But imagine even more than that. I feel like we're constantly, telling people about the funds that are, coming out of the Middle East, coming out of the Gulf region, and going into America. But we don't often really speak about, the Middle Eastern entrepreneurs that actually live in America and the difference that they're making there.
Yeah.
I heard of this really inspiring story, and basically this Lebanese entrepreneur, American entrepreneur, Tariq Mansour, he's the CEO of this company called Kalshi. And basically what it is that it's the largest prediction market company in America. And just recently, after the election of Donald Trump, they expanded, and guess what? They're hiring Donald Trump Jr. as the strategy advisor for the company. And when I take a look at this entire story, it's so interesting to see that these people get hired. They're so big and they have so much money, but they get hired by Lebanese entrepreneurs like this. So the Middle East, the Gulf region, we're not just making a difference here. The money is not just being funneled out of here, but they're also making a difference anywhere that they go.
Yeah.
And that's just our positive note for today. This is Smashi Business Show, a Smashi Business production under the Augustus Media Podcast Network. Do make sure to follow our newsletter on Smashi TV, and please make sure to follow all of our channels. Thank you so much for watching, and see you tomorrow for Friday.
Bye-bye.